Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Coming Out Cosmic podcast. My name is Christine Nowinski, ET contactee, awakening coach, and founder of Coming Out Cosmic. This podcast is for those who are questioning reality, those who may have had some strange esoteric experiences that they're afraid to share with others, those who are hoping to find that these experiences are normal. Here at Coming Out Cosmic, one of my missions is to help you understand that you're not crazy, you're just very cosmic, and what you're experiencing is very, very normal, especially as the collective continues to rise in consciousness. So you are in the right place if you're just looking for some validation that you are not insane. You just have some weird experiences just like a lot of us, okay? And in today's podcast episode, we are going to go deep into a really, really weird experience that I had the other night. I don't even know if I would call it super weird because I do think it's pretty normal. I think that this starts to happen to people the more and more they start to try to expose certain dark agendas like I do on my social media. So today we're going to go into my story of being visited by a draconian. And honestly, it has only been a matter of time because if you've been following me on TikTok for a little while now, you know that not only do I talk about all things cosmic, aliens, even mystical things like fairies and Bigfoot, I talk a lot about the draconians and the reptilians because I've had a lot of experiences with reptilians. And now I can say that I've actually had a pretty significant experience with a draconian in my bedroom. So I can't wait to go into that story with you. But first, for newer listeners, if you're not sure what a draconian is, it is an extraterrestrial race. If you know about the reptilians, these are like the lizard people. These are the people that I believe are truly in control, as well as with the draconians. The draconians are more on the higher upper echelons of the hierarchy. So it's almost like the draconians would be the ones who are in charge of the reptilians, so to speak, not in all cases, but if you were to look at this in basic terms in like a hierarchy, the draconians are the ones that are the military commanders. The reptilians are usually the foot soldiers. I believe it's very common to come across reptilians. I don't know how common it is to come across draconians. So I was actually pretty surprised that this happened to me, but also pretty excited because honestly, as always, one, we keep it high vibe here on Coming Out Cosmic. And two, I was like, holy shit, this is just more stuff that I can tell my audience. And this is not a scary experience. I want you to know that if you do fear aliens, if you do fear the draconians, the reptilians, this is not going to be a podcast episode that puts you into more fear about them. In fact, it is meant to inspire you and to empower you so that you realize how much power you truly have as a human being, because human beings are so extremely powerful. I've said it before, I'll say it again. We have some of the most high vibrational DNA within us that come from the angelic realms, that come from very high dimensional races. And then of course, we've got some lower vibrational DNA that may come from draconian races, from more low vibe races. But I want you to understand that human beings are a mixture and we have so many untapped powers and potential that actually makes us a threat to these draconians. When it comes to the draconian who visited me, and I'll get into the exact what happened story in a second here, he was sent to me because I'm working to expose their agendas, because I'm working to shed light on the draconians, on the reptilians, on alien agendas, etc. Remember, light equals information. You shed light on something. Darkness equals lack of information. You are in the dark about something. These races don't want for people to know about them. They want for people to be kept in the dark about them. So I'm not surprised that this guy was sent to me to scare me, to shut me up. I'm not surprised about that at all, but I am a little shocked that it actually happened because, to be honest, as much as I talk about aliens and as much as I talk about the experiences that I've had that I know to be true, the experiences of other people that I believe, there's always that human part of you that is like, this is truly unbelievable. Like, did that actually really happen? Because think, we have been on this earth for how many years? Like, I'm in my 30s. For like I would say like almost 30 years, I've just been programmed to believe that none of this stuff is even possible. So for me, it's still kind of impossible and it's still kind of crazy to think that this actually happened to me, but I know it to be true. I want you to listen to the story and to take what resonates. And I also want you to know that if you've had a similar experience, you are not alone. These things are very normal. They sound crazy. I sometimes have a hard time myself believing it, but it is very normal. So let me preface the story with what I was doing that day, because this draconian visited me during sleep paralysis in the night. I think that what I was doing that day is important to talk about because it can better set up one of the reasons why I believe it was easier for him to come visit me. On that day in particular, I was having a pretty low vibrational day. I just wasn't my normal happy self. I wasn't feeling high vibrational. I wasn't joyful. I was very, very moody. I was releasing a lot of emotions that had built up over time, such as anger, sadness, resentment. And I do feel like this had to do a lot with the full moon in Aries. So if you're not familiar, when there is a full moon, you are more likely to release stuff such as emotions. When there's a new moon, you are more likely to bring in new things like new opportunities. So new moons are good for manifestation and full moons are good for releasing stuff. And you'll do this naturally on a subconscious level. You don't even really have to think about it. So part of me kind of blames the full moon in Aries for the setup of this low vibrational day. Also, I have to take into account that I am pregnant and I'm going through a lot of pregnancy hormones, but still, it just wasn't a normal day. I was feeling pretty low vibe. And actually, what else happened on this day was I had a fight with my husband, and we rarely fight. I'm very, very lucky to be in an awesome marriage where we are both great communicators. We usually communicate problems before we start fighting about them, before we start reacting. So for us to have had a fight like that was really out of the norm. So when you take into account the general low vibrations that I was feeling, that I was emitting, that I was surrounded in that day, it really isn't surprising that a draconian was able to be around me later that night. Not all draconians, but most draconians are pretty low vibrational. Of course, there's good and bad in all species. However, when you are in a low vibrational state, it is easier for them to come around. This is basic quantum physics. So I'm not going to give a science lesson here or to pretend that I even know that much about quantum physics, but when vibrations are not in alignment, they cannot be near each other. So if you're a super duper high vibrational individual, super joyful, super happy, you might notice that some of your more sad or depressed or angry or low vibrational friends will naturally not be around you or naturally not be around you as often because the vibrations simply don't match. So that's what happened with this draconian, I think. Because I was already having a pretty low vibrational day, it might have been easier for him to step into this space because his frequency on some level could have matched mine. So now let's get into later that night. So we already know that I was having a pretty bad, rough, low vibrational day. Me and my husband, Chris, were fighting so much so to the point where he actually slept on the couch. So he was not in the bedroom with me. And a quick note here, I generally never have sleep paralysis when Chris is in the bedroom with me. I've had sleep paralysis since 2014 and I've had it on and off, not frequently at all during the past, I'd say like 2 or 3 years. Most of the time when I do have sleep paralysis, it's because I call in something. I call in my alien contact, my ET family, but rarely do I have sleep paralysis where it's not something that I initiated myself. And even more rare would it be that I ever have sleep paralysis when Chris is in the bedroom with me. I don't know if it's like a protection thing. My husband is very, very grounding. He has a certain frequency to him where I think it is harder for me to be in a sleep paralysis state. Again, maybe it's a protection thing. I'm not sure, but it is important to note that I was alone in the bedroom and Chris was not in the bedroom with me. That night, I actually took a sleeping pill, a pregnancy safe sleeping pill, because I knew that I was going to have a hard time sleeping because I was still so riled up from my low vibrational anger-filled day. Again, not like me at all. And so I finally fell asleep. And I would say maybe a couple hours later, like I don't have a true concept of time. I didn't look at my phone, but it felt like a couple hours later I woke up, which is very weird because anytime that I've taken these sleeping pills, they knock me out, so much so that I need an alarm to wake up the next morning. But no, I was woken up and I was not in a true sleep paralysis state. I was more in a half awake, half asleep state. So for me, what this means is that I was fully conscious of the episode of being half awake, half asleep. I could move my body. Usually in sleep paralysis, I cannot move my body. So I definitely was woken up, but I was very, very groggy. So that's why it kind of felt like a sleep paralysis state, but not one that I'm generally used to. It just really felt like I was woken up out of like a super deep sleep. When I became conscious that I was woken up, I felt an immediate presence coming towards me. And in the past, when this has happened to me, sometimes I would be like, oh, well, like maybe it's just Chris who came into the bedroom, or maybe it's just like a ghost, or maybe it's my dog. No, like this immediate presence was fucking huge. Excuse my French, but this presence was ginormous, enormous, gargantuan. It was the biggest presence that I've ever felt in my life. Like if I were to describe how big this presence was, how big this entity was, I would tell you that he was as big as my bedroom. Like he was as big and as tall as my ceiling. Like he was just so huge. And I say he because it felt like a male presence. Not only did I feel this huge presence like around me or hovering over me, my body reacted so intensely to this energetic presence. I got the most intense full body chills I have ever had in my entire life. And as a tarot reader, as an intuitive, I often get chills. It's one of the ways that spirit communicates with me. And for me, like, actually, I just got the chills right now. So that's like validation, like, ha, yeah, we're here with you. Don't worry. When I got these full body chills, it was literally from the top of my head all the way to the bottoms of my toes. And it was like a full body, like, whoo, like, I don't even know how to explain. It was the most intense chills that I've ever had in my life. So that is what really stood out to me about this experience that I've never had in sleep paralysis or in a half awake, half asleep state in my life. So when that happened, and remember, I'm conscious here. Yes, I'm pretty groggy and asleep, but I'm conscious that there's something in the bedroom with me. I know it's not Chris. So I immediately do a couple of things. I immediately tell the presence to go away. Because honestly, at this point, I didn't care if it was a good presence or a bad presence. I was like, dude, I'm trying to sleep and you woke me up. Leave me alone. I don't care if you're my dead grandpa. Hi, grandpa. Leave me alone, okay? I circled myself in white light, because for me, that just makes me feel like better and like more protected. And I also started calling on my guides. I was like, cosmic family, spirit guides, please be around me at this time. I remember also calling on Archangel Michael. He's one of my favorite archangels. He's super protecting, and I called on him as well. And I did all of those things telepathically in my mind, all like at the same time. And then I fell back asleep. Something important to note during this experience, I was not afraid. I was more in shock. I would say that I was maybe a little bit intimidated because this presence felt so huge and unlike anything I had ever felt before. But even when I was calling on my guides, in my mind, I was like, I don't know if this thing is malevolent or benevolent, but the only thing that I knew for sure was that this experience was going to be a lesson for me, and it was going to be a lesson for other people in discernment. So learning how to discern these energies, because although I am an energy worker, I think that most human beings are, it's something you need to tap into over time. Even though I'm very good with discerning certain energies, there are still new energies that will come around you that you need to learn how to pick up on, and you need to discern what is that. So I knew that this was going to be an experience for me to start discerning a new type of energy, because as much as I've been around reptilians and I know how to pick up on when somebody is a reptilian or if there's a reptilian around me, draconian is something new to me. I have never, from at least my own memory or my own remembered experiences, I have never experienced being in the presence of a draconian until this night. And I'll let you know how it was confirmed that this actually was a draconian entity. And another thing I want to note about that night, I was sleeping on my right side. And when I sleep on my right side, I'm looking at the wall. So even though I did open my eyes up for a second, I did keep them closed because I was like, oh my God, something is in here. Something wants to like intimidate me or something wants to wake me up. I don't really care to see this thing. I'm tired. I'm pregnant. I'm on sleeping pills right now. I don't want to engage in this encounter. It was not something that I asked for. A lot of times I will ask for alien contact during the night and I will fully embrace it because I ask for energetic healing. I'll try to be aware and conscious of it and all that good stuff. But during this particular instance, I was like, I really do not care to see what is out there because I can feel how freaking huge this thing is. So I don't really care to see it. It's like that human fear of the unknown. I talk about that a lot and I say how that could be a hindrance to alien contact for some because a lot of people are afraid of the unknown. Well, of course, I experienced that too. So I wanted to make it clear that I felt this presence energetically, one of the strongest presences I've ever felt in my life. I did not actually see this thing. And come to find out, if I were to like actually sit up and look around my room, I would not have seen this draconian in the physical. He might have appeared more like a ghost. Like maybe I would have been able to see some energetic, I don't know how to call it, like energetic lines. There's this weird thing that I do where if I'm looking at a wall, I can see all the molecules move. And if there is an entity standing there, the molecules move even quicker or like there's lines around it and I can pick up on that. So I feel like I would have seen his energy figure is what I would call it, and not like an actual 3D physical thing in my bedroom. Although I will say my dad saw a 3D physical draconian on military land when he worked for the military. That's another crazy story. And come to find out, he was not actually allowed to present himself physically to me at all. He was not actually allowed to be near me at all. He did not ask permission of my higher self to come to me. He was sent by more higher upper echelons of draconians to try to scare me, intimidate me, silence me, whatever. But he did not ask permission. And this is very typical of the draconians. They very typically break universal laws. They don't really give a shit about free will. And I'm talking about more of the malevolent ones. But that was definitely like one of the lines that he could not cross, was actually presenting himself physically to me. Because can you imagine, like, I don't know if you've ever seen a draconian or like a picture or an illustration of one, but they basically are like 8 to 10 feet tall or maybe even taller dinosaurs. I mean, I laugh because it sounds ridiculous, but it's true. And my dad actually saw one, and I just would not really care to see one in the physical because energetically I can feel how big they are. And I'm just like, dude, like stay away from me. The next day I wake up and I am in a very terrible, terrible mood. You know, there's so many things that could contribute to it. I mean, I still was a little bit groggy, probably from being very intensely woken up during the night before, but also because of the sleeping pills and maybe the full moon in Aries and pregnancy, etc. Because listen, I don't want to give this thing, this draconian, full credit for me being in like a bad, low vibrational state. I don't want to give him any of that power or credit. I want to take ownership for it myself as well, because obviously, like, we create our own reality. We are in charge of our own emotions. And when I woke up, I don't really remember thinking about the encounter the night before. It didn't really bother me at all. I didn't really have any second thoughts about it. I just kind of thought like, wow, okay, so something was in the bedroom with me. I haven't had that type of experience before. This was a different type of experience. And I wonder what was in the bedroom with me. Because again, I wasn't scared. I was just more like, what was that thing? And immediately when I started thinking about what it was, my higher self sent me an image through my third eye clairvoyance, through my mind's eye, and the image was Bowser from Mario Party. And so I immediately knew, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. I was visited by a effing draconian last night. Are you serious? Are you serious right now? Don't they have other people to visit? Don't they have other things to be doing, you know? But it kind of made me feel a little bit honored because I was like, oh shit, like I am making a difference. I am spreading light and they don't like that. So wow, like this is a really cool experience. So my intuition told me first that it was a draconian. And I'll get into even more confirmation of how I knew it was a draconian, not just with my own intuition, but with my friend Laura, who is a highly intuitive channeler, what she said about the experience. And then I want to get into all of my lessons learned. So going back to that day when I woke up, again, I really didn't think much of the experience. My intuition was leaning more towards, oh yes, this was a draconian visitation, but it was just so weird to me that I really wasn't sure if it was malevolent or benevolent. Like, I knew again that this was a lesson in testing my discernment and showing me that I'm supremely protected no matter what. And so I carried on with my day. I went to my sister-in-law's baby shower. I was pretty miserable. It was not a very good day. And when I got home from the baby shower, it did cross my mind at some point, like, maybe I should cleanse the house, because the likelihood of that being more of a malevolent entity is, I think, more probable than it being benevolent. Because again, when I think of malevolent, I sometimes think of like how something malevolent feels scary, like you feel fearful around it. But now I'm starting to learn that something malevolent doesn't necessarily have to cause you fear in order for you to think that it's malevolent. So that's a new lesson that I'm learning, actually. And that insight literally just came to me right now. So that's interesting. Okay. See, I'm learning right alongside you guys, because it's not that these things are extremely common, but I do think that these experiences will become more and more common. So I'm just going to repeat that. I feel like if it is a malevolent presence, if you do know that you are supremely protected and you're not generally a fearful person, the malevolent presence is not going to make you feel fearful. If anything, it might make you feel a little bit irritated. And that's what happened in my case. Now, a more benevolent entity will generally make you feel more love, more joy. So that's very easy to pick up on. But the more malevolent ones, yeah, if you're not feeling fear, you're probably feeling a little bit of irritation and annoyance. So again, when I got home, I did not feel the need to actually even cleanse my house. If you truly believe that you're protected, then you are protected no matter what. You don't need crystals. You don't need sage. You don't need Palo Santo, although I love me some good crystals, Palo Santo and sage. I've got it all right behind me on my little altar over here. But I really didn't feel the need to cleanse anything. I didn't feel afraid, or I didn't feel like it was something that was super malevolent, although I know that he was, and this was confirmed by my friend. So a couple days later, my friend Laura was doing a channeling session, and I let the moderator know, hey, I do have a question, but just let other people ask their questions first, because this really isn't that big of a deal. I don't really need to know this information. I think I'm like 99% sure that I know what this experience was, who it was, but I just would love some validation. And I think this is a very human thing, especially when something really interesting happens to you. I think it's a very human thing to want some validation, or to get at the very least somebody's opinion about what they think happened. So Laura is channeling, and I asked, I'm like, what was this entity? I believe that it was more malevolent than benevolent, but I'm just very curious because I ended up having like a horrible day before and after this experience. So like, what gives? And Laura was saying, first and foremost, your thoughts and beliefs create your reality. The more you focus on something, the more likely it is to come to you. And I was like, oh shit. I'm like, okay. Yeah, that's right. So like, the more you focus on draconians and reptilians, the more they will be likely to be around you. It's like the more you focus on being broke, the more bills are going to come in the mail kind of thing. So this is a manifestation thing, as well as a lesson learned and an experience that I think I needed to have. And then Laura went on to confirm everything that I already knew. She was like, yes, this was a draconian who came to visit you, who was sent by the higher upper echelons of draconians. This guy was more of a foot soldier. And then Laura's like, holy shit, this guy was massive. And I was like, oh my God, I know. I could feel how big and massive this thing was in my room. I feel like it took up my entire bedroom, to be honest, and it felt really close to me. And Laura was confirming, yeah, like its head was hitting the ceiling and it was kind of bent and hovered over you. So I don't know why I laugh at this. I think it's kind of funny because even though there was something so massive and could be super scary for other people around me, I was not even scared. Like, I didn't even know if this thing was good or bad. So again, a lesson in discernment for me. But Laura was like, oh girl, your spirit guides had your back. Like, don't even worry. They took care of it. They would not allow him to approach you, to do any sort of mind control, or to do any sort sort of implanting, because what these ET species can do is they can actually go into your mind and implant certain thoughts and beliefs. And actually they could implant different devices. Like we could go on and on about this. Alien technology is just something that is so esoteric and not understood. So I'm very happy and grateful for my spirit guides for having my back. So then Laura went on to connect my higher self with this Draconian's higher self, because yes, Draconians have a higher self. They have a soul. They break off of source just like we do. So she went to connect with his higher self, and his higher self was like, she needs to watch herself. And apparently my higher self was laughing and was like, screw you. And the Draconian's like, we're watching her. And my higher self is like, so what? You can watch her. And then my higher self's message for me was, you keep doing what you're doing, girl. Like you do whatever you want. And so a big thing that my higher self wanted for me to know, and I'm getting the chills as I talk about this, which is again, just validation from my higher self. Her name is Sheila, by the way. So thank you, Sheila, for all of these beautiful messages. But my higher self was also saying that this is a lesson in understanding how supremely protected I am. And if you know about my dad's Draconian story and how he saw one in the physical and it was like really scary and intimidating, he did not have any fear when he saw it. And he said that it was because he has always throughout his life felt really protected. So this lesson for me is that you need to believe that you are as protected as your father. Like this is a lesson for you. I'm sure that something more malevolent, I guess, could have happened that night. But again, I was just so protected that I didn't even know that this thing was sent to me as like a warning. I honestly thought that it was, looking back, I just thought that it was like a massive ghost. I don't know what I thought really what it was. I just knew that I wasn't scared. One of the questions that I had for Laura was, okay, so I know that I wasn't scared. Again, maybe a little bit intimidated and a little bit shocked or like annoyed. Because again, fear of the unknown, you don't actually really 100% know what's there, especially if you don't see it, because we've been programmed into believing seeing is believing. So I asked her, I was like, why did I have such a visceral reaction to his presence? Why did I get these intense full body chills that I've never experienced in my life? Like it was honestly such intense chills that I almost felt like I levitated out of bed. Like I thought I was going to fall out of bed. And Laura was explaining how the energy that comes off of these beings, Draconians in particular, is extremely strong. And so that was just my body's natural reaction to acclimating to his presence. PSA for anyone listening and resonating with this podcast episode, if you get full body chills, I'm talking head to toe, you may be in the presence of a Draconian. Laura then tries to go up the chain of command to the Draconian that actually commanded this guy to come visit me, and that connection was blocked. She was not allowed to talk to them. Honestly, probably just because this is like, I would imagine a small scale experience compared to all of the other huge things that the Draconians are trying to manage right now, because I do believe that they run the world. And then my higher self was being really funny during the channeling session. I think that's why I keep like laughing about this, because like Sheila is just like making me feel so good about this experience and making me find humor in it for so many different reasons. But my higher self was saying that she felt bad for the Draconian that came and visited me. And she said that he was kind of dumb. Like he was on the lower level, like totem pole. I don't know why she called him dumb, to be honest. Like I'm a very compassionate person. I actually feel some compassion for this Draconian. Like I feel bad that like we're calling him dumb. I don't know. And I don't mean to taunt these things. And I know that my higher self doesn't mean to taunt these things either. But of course, when you are supremely protected, it's like a mama bear moment. You know, it's like my higher self is protecting me through a lot of love, light, humor, laughter. That's more of what I'm getting when we talk about the silliness of this Draconian and him potentially being dumb. I don't know. I do actually have another funny thing that happened though. Like later on after the channeling session, I was just sending so much light, love, and gratitude to these Draconians for this experience. One, because I knew I could share it with other people, but Two, because it's really helping me to, again, build my discernment of knowing when an actual draconian is around me. And the image that came to me in my third eye was someone flipping me off. So this draconian was flipping me off, and you do have to just trust your intuition, trust your psychic abilities, trust your clairvoyance. If you get images sent to you that come out of nowhere, especially when you're trying to like telepathically communicate, not that I was trying to communicate with him, but I did want him to get the message of like, thank you, because a low vibe entity hates gratitude. It actually can help them transmute into a higher vibrational state, which is not what some of them want. But when you do get those specific images and downloads, you have to trust it. And damn, now I'm thinking I should have named this podcast episode or some of my videos on TikTok, "A Draconian Flip Me Off." Let's get into some more of the lessons learned here, because this experience was really exciting, and I am not welcoming another experience like this again. The Draconians are not welcome anywhere near me, but I do find that I need to have gratitude for this experience in so many different ways. And that's because of the lessons learned, such as one, we are protected no matter what. We need to believe it. You literally cannot be touched. Human beings are very, very, very galactically tied. We have high vibrational DNA. We've got angels, we've got spirit guides all around us. Our higher self always has our back, even though in some moments it doesn't feel like it. Know that they always, 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 always have your back, especially when you call on them. So remember, you are supremely protected. I want you to start telling yourself this every single day. I am supremely protected. I am supremely protected no matter what. It is the truth. Another lesson learned is that holy shit, draconians are effing huge. They are so big. I mean, I know, like, I talk about my dad's story of when he saw, like, he says it was like an 8 to an 11-foot tall draconian. It's kind of hard to tell when you're far away and your adrenaline's running and you're in shock. But gosh, dang it, like, their presence is so huge. And even though they can have such a huge presence, I guess they can still be a little dumb. Another lesson learned is a lesson in discernment, just discerning different types of energies. This has been such a valuable experience for me so that I can share with you guys like exactly how I felt his energy, how massive, what happened to my physical body, and the confusion I felt when I didn't know if he was malevolent or benevolent, because I didn't feel any fear because I always know that I'm supremely protected. I actually texted my dad about the experience and I was like, Dad, a draconian visited me the other night. He was massive. And my dad literally texted back, pretty cool, wasn't he? And so I was like, yeah, I mean, it was a really cool experience. I felt him energetically. I didn't see him physically like you have in the past, but yeah, it taught me a lot. And he was sent to me to scare me off so that I wouldn't publish more videos about the Draconians and try to spread light. And my dad, hold on, I want to get to the exact message that he sent back. He says, don't back down from it. Keep talking. Let people know not to be afraid of them. I am so blessed and grateful to have my father who knows exactly what I've gone through, and now I know what he's gone through. And if you ever want to know more about our alien stories, every other Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern, we do go on Alien Talks with Dad live on TikTok. So the next time that I'm going to be on live with my dad is actually going to be on October 15th, 2025. I don't know how far into the future people may be listening to this episode, but that's when I'm going to tell him my full story and see what his reaction is if you're interested in knowing how my dad reacts to this. But obviously he believes me and he is all for sharing your stories, coming out cosmic and telling people not to be afraid, because there's no reason to be afraid. We are all supremely protected no matter what. I also texted my brother and I was like, yo, remember when Dad saw a draconian? He's like, yeah. I was like, well, I was visited by one as well. And my brother was like, wow, that's a pretty cool experience. So I share this story because I don't want you guys to be afraid of these things. No matter what, the human mind is going to question the experience. It's going to maybe feel some intimidation. Maybe you might actually be terrified of an experience like this, but I'm here to share and tell you that I had an encounter when I was sleeping. This thing was literally hovering over me because he was so massive. His head was hitting the ceiling. He was hovering over me. I felt him. My body had a visceral reaction and I was completely fine. And I woke up the next morning and I was like, what happened? And I'm enthusiastic about this experience and I'm happy to share it, but I do want to make it clear that I do not want my enthusiasm to be mistaken for an invitation for them to come visit me again. Like, those nasty things are not allowed near me, near my house, near my family, near anybody, near any of my people on TikTok, on this podcast. They're not allowed anywhere. And instead, I would say that my enthusiasm is a reflection for my love for this reality. I am enamored with this infinite quantum reality where a freaking draconian can come visit you during the nighttime, where your thoughts and beliefs can manifest your reality, where your spirit guides can help you and protect you, where if a draconian can visit me, that means that fairies and mermaids and dragons and Bigfoot can come visit me and you. It's just so cool that our reality is not what it seems. I am so happy that aliens exist. I am so happy that these weird experiences exist, because how boring is life normally? 9 to 5 work, sleep, shit, die. Like, that's not what we're supposed to do here. We're supposed to have these crazy experiences. We're supposed to be here to evolve as human beings, to grow our collective consciousness. We are here so that we can spread our light, so that we can share stories and information with other people, so that people are no longer in the darkness. But we all have to be courageous enough to share these stories, to spread our light, to come out cosmic. What an incredible existence this is. We're also lucky to be here. And on a more personal note, to the draconian who visited me and to the draconians that sent him, I just want to say again, thank you so much for that experience, because sharing the stories with others is going to help them in so many ways. And I feel even more empowered and more protected than I have ever felt in my life. This experience is impetus for me to continue growing Coming Out Cosmic and to normalize the strange, the alien, the esoteric. So thank you, but you're not welcome anywhere near me again. Stay the F out of my house. Now, if you're interested to learn more about the draconians, about reptilians, I do have a reptilians course on sale for $37. I'll link it in the show notes. It goes deeper into my dad's draconian experience, if you haven't heard that, and into my experiences with dating a reptilian. We also go into whether or not all world leaders are reptilian shapeshifters. What is a shapeshifter? We go deep into who they are, what they do. And if you want to join me in saying F you to these draconians who were sent to try to intimidate me, then I think that it would be very helpful if you did check out that course and continue in my journey and in our collective journey of spreading light, because light is information. Inform yourself and you will naturally start to spread more light. So join me if you'd like in my reptilians course, all you need to know about the reptilians. And if you enjoyed this podcast episode, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and rate 5 stars. It really helps me and my growing family. The baby's kicking right now and the baby's saying, follow my mom. Follow her on TikTok, learn more. And of course, I don't only talk about draconians and reptilians. I've got a lot of other spiritual awakening and cosmic awakening stuff on my social media platforms, which is at Coming Out Cosmic on all media platforms. But I hope that this episode has given you a little bit of hope, a little bit of empowerment as a human being. And thank you so much for listening. I will see you in the next one. Bye.